So now that the DCEU is now past the Justice League movie and they're all done setting up most of their main characters in the DCEU going forward, who are the 5 villains that really need to be in the DCEU thus far that I personally want to see, and I think a lot of fans of the DCEU want to see in the movies? Of course, there's a bunch of villains that we've never really gotten to see on the big screen, so I'm going to be running down my top 5 list of villains that need to be in the DCEU. So guys, if you want to see this, make sure you guys definitely stay tuned. How's it going, Webheads? My name is Ryan Walsh, and before we get into this video, make sure you guys definitely subscribe to Webhead for more on the DCEU and the Justice League and all the DC superheroes going forward. I have plenty of videos coming out about that. Of course, turn on that notification bell so you guys get to keep up to date with all my latest uploads. Make sure you guys definitely smash that like button if you guys like this video. Of course, comment below your thoughts. Who are 5 villains that you guys want to see in the DCEU going forward? But with all of that out of the way, let's get in the video, Webheads. So we've seen a bunch of DC villains actually make it on the big screen in many different DC movies before. Of course, we've had a ton of Superman movies and we've had a ton of Batman movies, especially Batman movies. There's so many of those. And of course, we had that one Green Lantern movie and everything that the DCEU has set up. But I personally want to run down 5 villains that we haven't really seen on the big screen in a long time or ever, and I really want to run down this list because they're kind of villains that are a little weirder and something that the DCU might not have planned just yet, but personally I really want to see. Of course, I'm going to be talking about villains that haven't really been shown in any of the DCU movies or anything like that. I really want to talk about villains that haven't been mentioned, or maybe they've been mentioned once or twice, but villains that we know aren't going to be in any of the movies coming up thus far. And of course, I'm going to be starting at my number 5 villain all the way up to my number 1 choice. So, starting off at number 5, I actually have one of the Dark Knight's most memorable villains, the Riddler. Now, the Riddler, in my opinion, has not been done justice on the big screen at all. We haven't seen the Riddler really been portrayed in a movie since that Batman movie in the 90s with Jim Carrey playing the Riddler. I thought that was an absolutely horrible movie along with a lot of other people. I personally thought that was such a garbage movie, and I personally really want to see a Riddler done in modern times, like kind of brought up to date. Like, what would the Riddler really do in a live action movie? Personally, I think with this Ben Affleck Batman or whatever Batman they're going to be doing next, I think that the Riddler actually would be a great villain to put in a Batman movie. Of course, he doesn't have to be the main villain or anything like that, but I personally want the next Batman movie to kind of work like the Arkham games did, where they have a bunch of villains thrown in there, but at the same time, Batman has one main villain that he's going after, but throughout the entire movie, he's coming across all of these other villains that he has to take on throughout the movie, and I think that the Riddler would pose a great villain for Batman. He definitely would be working in his riddles and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, he wouldn't be as quirky or as weird as he was with Jim Carrey. He still would be a little weird, but at the same time, I think he would be a little more serious of a villain than he was before. At number 4, I have Reverse Flash. Now, obviously, it's no secret that we've seen the Reverse Flash a ton of times on the Flash CW show. We've seen him in that show a ton of times, but I personally really want to see a live action adaptation of the Reverse Flash. Who would be cast as this character, and what would he really be doing? Especially when they already announced a Flashpoint movie going forward for the DCEU. I think the Reverse Flash has to happen within that movie. I don't think any other character can replace him for that movie. So I really want to see the Reverse Flash actually pose a big threat to Ezra Miller's Flash and all of the Justice League. I don't want to see the Reverse Flash just be a villain to the Flash. I want to see him be a villain for the entire Justice League, because I personally see him as that kind of a character. He is a huge villain for the DC superheroes, and I think he definitely can pose as a great threat to the Justice League. At number 3, I have Mr. Freeze. Now, Mr. Freeze obviously is another one of those Batman characters that we have not seen since the 90s with Batman and Robin. Of course, that was a horrible movie, and he was portrayed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. That performance as Mr. Freeze was just unforgettable, and honestly, it will just live in one of the worst performances as a Batman villain ever put to screen. Of course, maybe even the worst portrayal of a Batman villain ever put to screen. But obviously, I want to see a Mr. Freeze that's definitely more up to date and definitely more like the Arkham City games had in that video game. Of course, you can still have the same backstory with Mr. Freeze and how his wife is frozen. Of course, she gets very sick, stuff like that. I personally think that he would be a great villain for Ben Affleck's Batman or whatever Batman they're going forward with. I think Mr. Freeze definitely is one of those cooler characters, especially that the DCEU has definitely shown that they don't mind doing these weirder Batman Batman characters, like they put Killer Croc and Harley Quinn on screen. I think Mr. Freeze definitely should be on screen with all of those characters. They should do all of the Batman villains, but if I had to pick one Batman villain to do, this is definitely at the top of my list for the #1 Batman that I really want to see for the big screen going forward in the DCEU. At number 2, I have Atrocitus. Now, Atrocitus is a Green Lantern villain, and now with the Green Lantern Corps coming out, I actually really want to see not only just Sinestro as a villain in the DCU. I think since that Green Lantern movie actually came out, I personally don't want to see Sinestro be the big bad guy for that movie. Instead, I want to see a Red Lantern be a villain for that movie. I want to see the Red Lantern Corps get introduced, and I want to see Atrocitus get introduced in that movie. I think that'd be absolutely awesome if we got to see him in a Green Lantern Corps movie, and not just be the villain to Hal Jordan, but many other Green Lanterns as well. As you introduce this entire Green Lantern universe, I want to see all the different lanterns actually play a part in this movie, especially the Red Lanterns. I don't want to see the Yellow Lanterns at all. They already did that in that last movie. I want to see something different for this next Green Lantern movie, and I think Atrocitus would be a great villain for the Green Lantern Corps movie. And at number 1, this character was definitely teased in the Justice League movie when Bruce Wayne actually showed up in Barry Allen's hideout, and basically Barry Allen said that he was fluent in Gorilla Sign Language. At number 1, I have Gorilla Grodd. I absolutely love Gorilla Grodd as a character in the comic books and the animated series and the TV series that they actually put him on in The Flash. I think he is a very cool villain, and definitely something that the DCU can definitely pull off if they really try to. Of course, this character can definitely come off as very goofy and maybe come off as very cheesy or corny, but I personally really want to see Gorilla Grodd done right on the big screen and actually come off as a big menace. He not only in the comic books and the animated series and like the TV series, he wasn't just a villain to the Flash, he was a villain to the entire Justice League as well. And I kind of want to see these weirder villains that the Flash has actually put to screen. I think the Flash has some of the coolest villains in the DC universe, and I really want to see Gorilla Grodd as one of the main villains in a Flash movie or maybe a Justice League movie or something like that. And especially when they're setting up the Legion of Doom like they were in that Justice League end credit scene, I think that Gorilla Grodd would definitely fit into that team very well, and I think it'd be really cool if he was on the Legion of Doom along with Deathstroke and Lex Luthor. I think that'd be so cool. But guys, let me know down in the comments, what villains do you guys want to see in the DCEU? Let me know down in the comments below. I always want to hear your opinions on this. Make sure you guys definitely smash the like button if you guys like this video. Of course, subscribe to Webhead if you guys want more on the DCEU. Make sure you guys definitely turn on that notification bell so you guys get kept up to date with all my latest uploads, and be sure to get into my Black Panther giveaway. All you got to do is be a subscriber and comment below. That's all you got to do to be entered in my Black Panther giveaway. But guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Bye-bye. Alrighty, Webheads, if you guys like this video and you guys want to see more, make sure you guys definitely subscribe right over here to Webhead. I have plenty of videos coming out on the DCU going forward. Of course, make sure you guys definitely check out my social media links in the description below so you guys can follow me on various social media networks. And of course, check out the 2 videos below me I think you guys would really, really enjoy. But thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Bye-bye.